Live. Every day we go to one of our correspondents in Asia and get the latest news from where he is. Andrew Salmon is up today. He's in Seoul, South Korea. What's making headlines where you are, Andrew?
Well, one of the most interesting stories that we've seen in a long time in Korea has just come through over the weekend. North Korea released 6 detainees, South Korean citizens apparently, to the care of South Korean authorities, as well as one body in a body bag. It's unclear who these people are. They appear to have been South Korean defectors to North Korea, who North Korea decided they're not very useful for propaganda purposes, or who perhaps having got to North Korea realized it wasn't the utopia they'd expected. And so the North Koreans decided they'd had enough of these people and have sent them back to South Korea. But the South Korean government's keeping very tight-lipped about this. Virtually no further details have yet emerged. So a lot of questions hanging over this story.
All right, I understand Samsung is also getting a lot of attention where you are.
Yeah, absolutely. Samsung Electronics is the flagship company of South Korea, and it's just recorded its latest profits and losses. It's seen its largest ever profits for the third quarter of this year, and out of the last 7 quarters, 6 seen record profits. So Samsung right now is doing very, very well, both on chipset sales and on smartphone sales. It's recently released its Samsung Gear, which is a smart watch and a smartphone with a curved screen. The question now is whether Samsung can maintain this momentum. A lot of analysts say that with so many markets now saturated, Samsung faces challenges ahead.
Andrew Salmon in Seoul, thank you very much. Asia Live now takes us to the movies to see Snowpiercer, an adaptation of a cult French comic book. After a global climate apocalypse, the last survivors live on board a speeding train and a class war erupts. The poor and downtrodden rise up against the rich. A film directed by South Korean filmmaker Bong Joon-ho. Our reporters Justin McCurry and Mary Linton met up with him.
Imagine an enormous train hurtling through a frozen landscape, powered by a perpetual motion engine. A final refuge after a cataclysmic event wipes out almost all human life. This infernal Noah's Ark is the creation of Jacques Lob and Jean-Marc Rochette, whose popular French graphic novel, Le Transperceneige, has been reborn as a film by a renowned South Korean director.
I read the first 10 pages and was intrigued by the unique setting. People living in 10 different train carriages depending on their social class. I was immediately sucked into the story. Some of the conflicts, plot lines and other details have changed from the comic book version, but the movie pretty much keeps the original alive.
The director of The Host and Mother, Bong Joon-ho, is one of the most popular filmmakers in South Korea. This time, his challenge was to transform a black and white comic from the 1980s into a blockbuster film. Most of the dialogue is in English, and the film features an impressive cast list that includes Chris Evans and Tilda Swinton. Shot in the Czech Republic, Snowpiercer is the most expensive South Korean film ever.
I never intended to make a huge international movie, but in trying to portray the survivors, it seemed only natural to have a range of actors from diverse backgrounds. That's why the cast is so international.
The story behind this global blockbuster began in this bookshop in Seoul. This is where Bong came across a Korean language version of Transperceneige.
Here, Bong wrote, "Thank you, Pyongyang Bookshop. Thanks to you, I was able to make this movie. After the film's release, sales of the comic book surged."
20,000 copies of the comic book have been sold in South Korea since the film's release in August. The shop's manager, though, believes nothing, not even a hit movie, can replace the complex narrative of the 3-volume graphic novel.
The movie deals with only one part of the comic book, but the comic book tells the whole story.
The movie was an instant hit in South Korea, drawing an audience that has already topped 9 million. It's set for release in France on October the 30th.
All right, that's it for Asia Live. Don't forget you can watch it again on our website, france24.com. Asia Live. Stay tuned to France 24 in just a few moments. Catherine Norris-Trent will be speaking to our correspondent in Moscow, Sean Walker. Will have Russia's take on the Georgian presidential election. That's coming up right after the break.